Good afternoon, and you're just in time for the latest in the world of current affairs, of business, as well as sports. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Ann Wangeshim. And quickly, I want to take you live to Bungoma County, where President William Ruto is on his last day of the 5-day Western Region tour. The president is currently speaking to wananchi there, and let's listen in to the head of state.
Ndio town hii ya Bungoma tuweke ghorofa ya 15, 15-story building itakuwa hapo ya wananchi wa hapa kukaa kama city. Nyinyi mnataka Bungoma iendelee kukaa kama shopping center? Sibadilishe ikuwe city. Si Eldoret imekuwa city. Si Kisumu imekuwa city. Mnataka Kisumu ibaki nyuma, Bungoma ibaki nyuma. Situbange pia hapa Bungoma ikuwe city. Baadhi hiyo mpango mimi niko naye tayari, nitanyorosha. Hapa niko na mtu ya kufuela, Kenneth Makelo Lusaka, gavana wetu wa Bungoma.
Haya, basi asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Mururira sama urane ndevanuna murio mno amujatuletea chisoni. Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi kwa niaba ya watu nataka nikushukuru kwa hii tour umekuja, na nikueleze kwamba sisi kama county government ya Bungoma Kandui tunajenga board and bucket na bus park ambayo itaisha mwezi wa April. Magari zote zitakuwa zinaenda pale kupunguza congestion. Mheshimiwa Rais, pia nikuulize, nikushukuru wale mama mboga ambao walikuona na wako hapa. Ile msaada uliwaahidi umenipatia na ninaenda kuwapatia tukimaliza sherehe hii. Ya tatu, Mheshimiwa Rais, ile Bungoma National Polytechnic Sangalo, kuna mambo fulani ulisema ifanyike. Yule contractor amezembea kidogo, mpige check ili waweze kuboresha kiwanda chetu cha Sangalo iwe ile standard ambayo ulikuwa umesema. Mheshimiwa Rais, tunakushukuru kwa sababu wakati tumekuja kukuona tukiwa na speaker na management ya Nzoia, umetuambia kwamba Nzoia in the next 2 months itafanya kazi kwa sababu tegemeo la uchumi ya Bungoma ni Nzoia Sugar. Ukifix hiyo na hii barabara ya kutoka hapa Musikoma kwenda mpaka Baholo, hiyo Mheshimiwa Rais ukitumalizia pia utakuwa umefanya kazi ambayo itakuja kutusaidia. Ile barabara ya kutoka Birigidia mpaka Misiku ambapo ulikuwa jana, pia Mheshimiwa ukimaliza utakuwa umemaliza. Na ninakuhakikishia vile tulisimama na wewe 2022, hawa watu watasimama na wewe 2027 mundu kumundu. Nione wale watasema watasimama.
Asante.
Bokoli, Mheshimiwa Rais, pia kuna barabara moja ya kutoka hapa Sikata kwenda paka Bokoli paka Kimilili. Pia hiyo barabara imekuwa mbaya, tunakuomba kwa heshima uweze kutusaidia. Nimekuitolea kofia. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Asante sana.
Haya. Hizo barabara tatu Mheshimiwa Gavana amesema. Hii ya Musikoma kwenda mpaka Kakamega. Tayari contractor yuko, nimeweka milioni 300 na hiyo barabara itaendelea. Hii barabara ya Sikata kwenda Bokoli, hata na hiyo barabara iko kwa mipango yangu. Na ile ya kwenda pia Misiku mpaka Brigadier, tayari ule contractor ndiye alizembea, tumebadilisha huyo contractor, tunaleta mwingine ndiye afanye hiyo kazi amalizie. Sawa sawa? Hapa sasa niko na senator wetu, wewe senator pande hapo.
Our very own Simon Achola is following up on the president's last day tour in the western part of the country. The president, of course, flanked by numerous leaders, both national and county, and he will duly inform us in our subsequent bulletins, given that today it is the last day the president is touring that particular region. Now, to other news now, a section of Embu County leaders have maintained they are in the government to stay despite growing discontent from some of leaders and residents from the region. Led by Governor Cecily Mbarire, the leader said it was incumbent upon the county to rally behind the government so that they could draw maximum benefit in terms of development projects.
Nitaambia watu wa Embu hivi. tuko na miaka ingine 2.5 ambayo imebaki. Na ile ahadi tulikuwa na serikali ya William Ruto, ingine ameanza kutimiza, kuna mingi ambayo haijatimizwa. Lazima tupate ile alituambia. Kabla ya mambo ingine yote, siasa ingine yote, yule mtu anataka kuongea, hiyo kwangu ndio muhimu kuliko kitu ingine yote. Mabarabara zetu, maji, stima, market zetu, hiyo usaidizi yote ambaye alituambia, industrialization, tuko na ile pipe tunajenga kule, kiwanda kule Mashanga, hizo zote lazima tuzipate kwa sababu yeye ndiye president.
Sisi tulichagua serikali ya Kenya Kwanza 100%. Ile kitu nauliza watu wa Embu na kaunti zile zingine wanakasirika, hiyo makasiriko waweze kutema turudi pamoja, kwa sababu tumeona rais wetu akienda Mombasa watu wampokea, akienda Coast, akienda Kisumu watu wampokea, kila kona sote, hata jana alikuwa Bungoma. Lakini sisi ni kama tunataka kufanya ni kuuliza watu, kama ni wewe umeenda ukatafuta kitu huko nje, uletee familia, uwezi kupigania ukiwa nje, mpaka tupiganie tukiwa ndani.
And now to a developing story at the corridors of justice. The High Court in Kiambu has given the green light for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission selection panel list to be forwarded to President William Ruto for appointment. Justice Dole Chepkwony dismissed a petition opposing the list because it lacks inclusivity, stating there was no evidence to prove that persons living with disabilities were excluded or that the panel failed to meet gender and regional balance requirements.
Having established that the petitioner has not proven the alleged constitutional and statutory violations, the main orders being sought to declare that the panel list offends Articles 10 and 54 of the Constitution, and certiorari to quash the list are not merited on the available evidence, and consequently this petition is found to lack merit and is therefore dismissed.
And in other news, the Law Society of Kenya has condemned the withdrawal of security detail attached to Chief Justice Martha Koome, terming the move as intimidation of the judiciary and an affront to the administration of justice and the rule of law. LSK want the National Police Service to restore Koome's security detail, saying the explanation that the police were attending a training does not hold water.
The Law Society of Kenya has taken note of the letter from the Chief Justice, the Honorable Lady Martha Koome, addressed to the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Interior and the Inspector General of Police. By the said letter, the Chief Justice revealed a concerning decision by the National Police Service to withdraw the security detail attached to her office and apparent weakening of the Judicial Police Unit. We condemn this unfortunate move and confirm that whether by omission or commission, the said situation is unacceptable and indicates grave systematic and administrative lapses within the National Police Service. We call on the Inspector General of Police, the National Police Service, to take immediate action to address all issues relating to the security of the judiciary. Our constitutionalism is dependent on a fully functional, unstrained judiciary, working to administer justice and ensure accountability in governance.
Elsewhere, hundreds of natural residents in Kiambu County now have title deeds approving ownership of land they have been occupying for the last 40 years. During the issuance of the documents to 980 landowners, Kiambu County Governor Kimani Wamatangi said his administration is working to ensure that over 10,000 title deeds are given to their rightful owners before the end of 2027. Wamatangi said no one in the county should have difficulties accessing the documents since services at the area land registry will be digitized.
Watu wetu wamekaa karibu miaka 40 wengine bila title deed ya shamba walinunua. Hapa area hii ya Nashu, miaka nyingi tumeitwa watu wa ndia, tukionekana kama sisi watu wako nyuma. Lakini Mungu wetu amefika wakati huu. Title zetu ziko hapa, title 970. Tutapatiana leo, wazazi wote wenye wako hapa wachukue.
It is also worthy noting that next week we are going to be carrying out a verification exercise in Mwehoko, where we are anticipating to give a total of 1,200 titles during the month of February after we are done with the verification.
Leo nimeshukuru juu nimepata title juu hii broti yetu imekaa miaka mingi, lakini nashukuru Mungu juu wa matagi ametupea. Sasa tutawana na dada zangu na hakuna shida itakuwa.
The Gender and Equality Commission will work closely with Parliament to review laws and policies to address the femicide menace in the country. Addressing a gender-based violence awareness meeting in Migori County, National Gender and Equality Commission Vice Chairperson, that is Thomas Kuyero, noted that in the last 3 weeks, the county lost 21 women through femicide, a worrying trend that, if unchecked, can lead to more harm and loss of life. Migori County is ranked among the top 5 counties in the country with high cases of GBV at 51%. He said the commission will soon introduce programs to educate and sensitize the community on the vice. Earlier this year, Migori County launched a 40 million shillings economic empowerment program to address GBV and boost the socio-economic development of the region.
We cannot be silent, and we are grateful that His Excellency the President has formed a task force to address this matter, and us as a constitutional commission in charge of oversight of the executive, oversight of members of parliament, and oversight of the county governments, we want to work together to look at how we can best address this issue.
We have a program under our gender department that addresses gender equality, and that is what we are handling. Yesterday we had different stakeholders and we had different topics that we are handling in terms of empowerment, GBV, triple threats, FGM, so many activities that are happening pertaining our Department of Gender. So we are liaising also with the national government to ensure that we address them effectively.
In a major boost for education and nutrition, over 13,000 young learners in Bere North, Embu County are set to benefit from a new feeding program introduced by the State Department of Basic Education in partnership with the National Council for Nomadic Education. The initiative will see 10.6 tons of fortified corn soy porridge distributed to about 100 schools across the semi-arid region. Bere North Sub-County Director of Education, John Datho, confirmed that the program targets pre-primary 1, pre-primary 2 and grades 1, 2 and 3 learners. The program responds to challenges caused by harsh weather conditions and low harvests.
Kwa msaada wa serikali wa kupitia NACONEC tumepata msaada wa uji ya watoto gunia 437 equivalent to 10.6 tons of porridge. The porridge is fortified, it's very nutritional for learners. This will go to catering for 13,220 learners in our primary schools. We really thank the government for the support and hope that this will help in retaining the learners in school.
The Media Council of Kenya has pledged to support journalists during tough economic times by establishing media centers offering training, promoting investment and addressing mental health challenges. Speaking during a visit to the Meru Press Club offices, Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer David Omoyo acknowledged the challenges journalists are facing amid the ongoing economic downturn, which has led to the closure of several media houses. He also highlighted the council's effort to provide journalists with dedicated workspaces and training on financial security. Omoyo called for collaboration among journalists within the industry. That was the CEO of the Media Council of Kenya visiting one of the press clubs in Meru County, of course, pledging to support some of those particular institutions. Now, moving on, the Kenya Wildlife Service has begun the construction of an electric fence along Maramet Forest, which stalled mid last year. Residents of Kauka, Silale and Uaso Narok villages have lauded the construction of the fence, urging those whose land is beyond the forest cut line to seek an alternative way of solving the land disputes that stalled the project. The residents recounted the losses incurred when marauding elephants wreaked havoc on their farms.
Sisi hatuwezi fanya kazi hii ndovu ikiwa tambarari hapa. Nyuma yangu hapa ndovu saa hizi ziko, lakini tukiweka waya tutakuwa hata na mambo mengi.
Sisi tutatunza fence kwa njia hii. Iwapo kama watatuteua kama scouts, bado sisi tutaangalia hiyo fence kwa sababu sisi ndio inatuface. Kwa njia fupi, mimi ni mkimbiaji ambaye hata huyo ndovu amenitisha kwa hii barabara na si mara moja wala mara mbili.
Kwa hivyo sisi tunafurahi kwa sababu wanyama pori watakaa katika msitu na watu wataendelea na mashamba yao. Na tunaomba serikali ikamilishe hii ua ya ndovu, ifike mahali ambayo msitu ambayo inastahili.
Civil society organizations have urged the government to prioritize free, quality and compulsory basic education over the current bursary-based system. Led by the Policy and Strategy Advisor at Elimubora Working Group, Boaz Waruku, the group observed that bursary schemes are insufficient and unsustainable, leaving many students unable to access quality education. They urge that a free, quality and compulsory education system as envisaged in the Constitution and the Basic Education Act will eliminate the need for bursaries.
Each and every agency, the ministry, state agencies, they are expected and mandated to only utilize funds for the functions that are assigned to them. If all of them were doing their work faithfully, these overlaps would not occur. And indeed, we would be able to see where the gaps are, so that in the process of budget making, Kenyans themselves would be advocating for additional resources to particular areas, which are essential but are underfunded.
Demand free, quality and compulsory basic education. Kenyans should begin demanding free, quality and compulsory basic education as we advocate for transferring functions. Such a system will make reliance on bursaries unnecessary.
To education matters now, Kenya National Union of Teachers will take part in the Nyanza Investment Forum to help them in unlocking the potential of the lakeside counties. NAT Secretary General Colin Soyu says his organization will mobilize its members to attend the conference slated for early next month. The conference is expected to attract international investment conference, is expected to bring together local and international investors with a goal of unlocking investment opportunities and driving sustainability development in the region. According to the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Executive Office of the President, Eliud Owalo, the event will serve as a platform to bridge the gap between professional expertise and government efforts in development.
The recognition that you have for the teaching fraternity is one way of appreciating the teaching fraternity and also noting strongly that we can do a lot in assisting whatever agenda and also in development that should be driven. We are here, and we are here to stay.
We have so many papers. We have had also similar conferences before. But now we want to move from strategy to action. Is it possible that we can have a different investment conference that really comes up with tangible outputs in terms of engagement and even agreements that can translate into actual investment on the ground?
Meanwhile, property worth millions of shillings have been destroyed in a fire incident in Thika town, Embu County. It took the firefighters from Thika and Ruiru more than 3 hours to put out the fire that started in a mattress and plastic shop. Their efforts were, however, hampered by the high voltage power lines near the building. No injuries were reported in the 11 p.m. incident.
Moto huu ulianza kwa mwendo wa saa 11 na umekuwa moto wenye hasara kubwa kwa sababu ukiangalia kwenye hilo store lilikuwa limejaa vitu na vitu vyenyewe vimekuwa vikichomeka vyote.
Mimi ni hoka wa hapa Thika, naekanga mzigo yangu huku casket, sijui kama imeshachomeka. Si tulikuwa tuna expect hii moto. Nimepigiwa simu kutoka nyumbani, nikaambiwa store kunachomeka.
It is 20 minutes past the hour. We are taking our first commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have more for you on the other side.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
It's game time.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
I nominate myself.
If you're on Access, step up to Family and we'll step you up to Compact. Hakuna kitu feel better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out. Step up and we'll step you up. Dial *423# or download my DSTV app to upgrade today.
Hizi mahesabu upatie mtosi wako shauri yako. Mimi siko kwa hizi mahesabu. Kiani unataka nitopoe siri? Nitopoe?
Siri gani?
Nitopoe.
Na si useme basi.
Wewe anatumia jumba ya wenyewe ya biashara kufanya biashara yako.
Jumba ya
wenyewe anaenda hasara.
Tuache ni jumba ya wenyewe.
Sababu si wewe analipa rent.
So what is your problem?
Wewe unatakiwa uulize
maswali. Do you know what I gone through about that interview? Unajua nini nilienda through about that interview? Actually she was forcing me and then I refused it.
Ndio nakuuliza, mbona ukumwambia mwenye kazi kwamba huyu msichana umeleta ananisumbua?
Si wewe ndiye alimleta huyu msichana.
Na mbona ukumshtaki kwa mwenye kazi?
Mimi ndio usinifanye fool kwa sababu umeniweka mahali kuna temptations. Alafu nakuja
kwa hivyo kwa tempted.
Si kwa tempted lakini kuna temptations.
Umesema amekuweka kwa temptation. So you are tempted ndio ukafanya hivyo vitu.
I was almost there mheshimiwa. Sio kitu nimesema mheshimiwa.
Happened? Are you in the bad mood?
'Cause you're pissing me off. Just take the money and consider it as me treating you to a meal.
I'm not trying to argue with you. I just want to talk to you nicely.
You're so annoying. Can you calm down?
I was being kind. Why are you taking my kindness for granted?
Nick knows something, and he has been hiding from me.
Hello, Nick. Hey, relax. I need to talk to you urgently.
That must be a very important phone call.
What clues or evidence does he have?
We need to find a way, otherwise we will all be in trouble.
There is nothing that incriminates anyone. What took you so long?
Hi, Ruth.
Hi. There's something you left behind.
I'm feeling like I'm being watched.
You agreed to meet Miss Ruth Mbuguna this evening.
When did I agree to that? Does she know you sent Blackie to me?
No. She can never know that.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now let's make sense of the numbers here in the business world, where Vivo Energy Kenya Managing Director Peter Murungi has hailed the transformative impact of Kenya-China relations, highlighting the Asian country's role in reshaping Kenya's infrastructure and economic landscape. Vivo Energy Kenya Managing Director Peter Murungi lauded the Chinese for putting up roads, railways, bridges, buildings and other vital infrastructural projects that have redefined how Kenyans connect with each other. He was speaking in Nairobi when Vivo Energy Kenya hosted a dinner to celebrate the Chinese New Year that is being marked globally for 16 days.
It is because of continued partnership that we stand here today. We are proud. And this enduring collaboration has been the bedrock of our shared success.
And we stood with each and every one of us in this room to make sure your business, your people, and every single equipment, any single thing that you're doing continues as we continue to grow and to tie into the construction investment in the country. And we will continue to do so in the year 2025.
Developers should only engage engineers registered in the new Engineers Board of Kenya portal. Roads Principal Secretary Joseph Mbugua says the portal is part of reforms being implemented to accelerate Kenya's quest to join the Washington Accord and modernize the construction sector.
A report by the Architectural Association of Kenya showed that 288 buildings out of the 1,333 that were audited last year failed the safety test. The Engineers Board of Kenya blames this to poor workmanship due to engaging unqualified personnel.
Our engineers are well trained, and EBK now lies in terms of its status. More discipline will also be expected from the accredited engineers within our subsector.
The board is banking on its new portal to help in addressing the challenges of quirks, as well as streamlining the licensing of engineers and students pursuing engineering courses.
There is a lack of involvement of the professional engineers, and this is a space we want to close by having our licenses, by having even the students indexed as they go through these programs, so that we know these are the genuine students who have completed the course. And so I think we are closing the space gradually. I think there's a lot of hope. And as a country, I think we are committed to quality. We are committed to being best global citizens.
The licensing and registration is part of a strategy to meet the Washington Accord standards, with evaluation of Kenya preparedness for accreditation set for June this year.
Why they are here, and we trust that if all goes well, then in June we shall move into what we would call now some preliminary approvals, which will now end up in having Kenya, EBK, to become a member of the Washington Accord.
This comes after the cabinet on Tuesday this week said Engineers Board of Kenya and 14 other professional bodies will no longer be receiving government funding. Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest peak, captivates visitors, especially when they take a view of it from the Amboseli National Park. The mountain pierces the sky with a snow-capped summit, creating a stunning backdrop that draws the interest of photographers, adventurers and nature lovers from around the world, as Mchuma Odim highlights this afternoon on Magical Scenes.
As the sun rises over the sprawling plains of Amboseli National Park, a breathtaking spectacle unfolds. The Amboseli National Park, renowned for its diverse wildlife and stunning landscapes, offers one of the best vantage points to appreciate the magnificence of Mount Kilimanjaro. The park's unique ecosystem, characterized by acacia woodland, swamps, and open plains provides an unparalleled opportunity to witness the interplay between the mountain and the vibrant wildlife that roams below. As dawn breaks, the rays of sunlight illuminate the mountain, casting a golden shade over the landscape. Visitors often gather at designated observation points for breakfast, cameras in hand, eager to click and capture the moment when the mountain unveils itself in all its glory. The sight of elephants grazing against the backdrop of Mount Kilimanjaro is a scene that leaves an indelible mark on the hearts of those fortunate enough to witness it. Here, elephants roam freely, often seen against the stunning backdrop of the mountain. The park is also home to lions, cheetahs, giraffes, and a variety of bird species, making it a haven for wildlife photography and observation.
Amboseli National Park is very beautiful because of the wildlife which is present within the park. Within the park, we have over 56 mammals which can be seen from time to time. And we also have all except one when we talk about the big five. And so apart from that, Amboseli is also known as the home of African elephants because of the number of elephants which are residing within the park. And so it is only within Amboseli where you are able to see a large herds of elephants at any one given time.
Chuma Odim, multiple sense in the county of Kajiado.
Elsewhere, on-site ICF CEO Steve Ross is calling for a review and reduction of some of the levies on construction to help close the house deficit.
Building Code 2024, which was implemented in March 2024 to replace the 1968 local government order, introduced modern building standards, including the incorporation of sustainable building technologies.
The technology itself, with the foam providing insulation, that is a more climate resilient product. Reinforced with rebar and cement, it's very strong. Kenya, you're fortunate not to have weather disasters, the floods, right? I mean, this is a durable, permanent house.
Ross believes the cost of construction could be reduced if some levies on building materials is relooked at and reduced.
So reduced weight on the block, that means you don't have to over-engineer your foundation. The speed in which the walls come up, you're reducing your labor cost by half.
I believe it starts with the customer, to be customer focused. And sometimes, ultimately the customer is the homeowner.
The affordable housing project in Mukuru, Nairobi County is being developed using prefabricated blocks, gas reticulation, and energy-saving features.
There is disconnect between where the policy is and the implementation. So we would want that this rolls down to all agencies. This rolls down to everyone who implements housing, because they need to understand that this is part of the policy and this is a system that has been approved. It's part of our building code and needs to be adopted.
We've seen how this new technology, which is IC Health, is affordable, it's fast, as Steve had said, and it's also durable. We've had 13 houses built for Nyana Mwido since this partnership started, and we can really attest to the fact that it's a technology that is good for our country.
Alan Auko, Lunchtime News.
Informal workers from Kwale County are said to benefit from a transformative program seeking to link them with opportunities within the construction value chain. The initiative being facilitated by 20 Times Entrepreneur, a Kenya sales consultant firms dubbed Chanuka Jipange na Opportunities, where is seeking to transform lives through economic empowerment and collaboration.
About 47% of those in Kwale live below the poverty line, hence the need for targeted economic empowerment initiatives. This, coupled with socioeconomic challenges, including looming layoffs of about 1,950 workers from Base Titanium's operations by mid this year, creates an urgent need for alternative employment opportunities.
Kwa hapa Kwale, naweza sema kwangu mimi hii ni mara ya kwanza na inatufaidi sababu ni kama ni kitu ambayo inatufungua akili kwa upande wa biashara. Na lakini kwa masikitiko ni kwamba vijana wengi kwa hapa Kwale bado hawajapata elimu ya biashara.
Over 250 people attended the forum in Kwale. This is after similar forums were in the counties of Embu, Nakuru and Machakos to sensitize those in the informal sector on how to leverage opportunities from ongoing affordable housing projects.
We are here to help artisans, to help informal workers, saloonists, restaurant owners to have the mind of seeing opportunities.
Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
And now finally, let's play. Thika FC will have the chance to reclaim top position in the FKF Premier League when they take on Ulinzi Stars in one of 3 matches on card tomorrow. With table toppers Kenya Police playing on Monday, Thika need a win or a draw to move back to the top above Kenya Police.
Kenya Police and Thika FC have 33 points each in position 1 and 2 respectively on the FKF Premier League table going into the second half of the 2024-2025 season. Thika will move 3 points above their opponents with a win against Ulinzi Stars in one of the 3 matches to be played tomorrow. Thika will, however, not have it easy as 11th place Ulinzi Stars will move up to 6th position on the table should they beat the Brewers. Another game with a lot at stake will see bottom side Posta Rangers face Talanta FC. 3 points for Posta will move them above Bidco United, and should they win with more than 5 goals, they will move up to 16th above City Stars. Talanta, who are also in danger of the drop, also need maximum points to move further away from the drop zone. Posta and Talanta will kick off an hour before AFC Leopards host Murang'a Seal in the 3rd game of the day. Leopards sit comfortably in 5th position on the table with 25 points, 3 points above their opponents Murang'a Seal, who are down to 12th position. 4 more matches will be played on Sunday, with Gor Mahia, Bandari and Sofapaka all in action, while Kenya Police will meet Mara Sugar in the only game on Monday.
Elsewhere, Maxwell Juma Marende from Kitengela and Joyce Chepkemoi from Nakuru have won a Suzuki Alto through a Pepeta Christmas campaign. During the campaign, 20 players shared a total of 100,000 shillings daily in December 2024, while other participants went home with other goodies. Maxwell and Joyce plan to convert the car to an online taxi to earn their living. And now on the international front, the education sector in Haiti is slowly gaining momentum after the devastating effects of gang violence, which forced the closure of schools and disrupted lives in the country. The multinational security support mission to Haiti and the Haiti National Police are working to ensure that more schools reopen and resume their normal activities. Well, of course, you do remember our forces are still in Haiti trying to bring peace to that particular nation that has been, of course, bedeviled by gang violence in that particular area. And in this particular intro, you've just heard me clearly stating that our forces, through the National Police Service, who landed, of course, just the other day, the other battalion that were remaining. And now let's take a look at that story. Okay, and I do understand we'll get to that particular story in our subsequent bulletins. But for now, before I go, I want to tell you about some of the stories that are making headlines in the world of sports. You do know that the English Premier League will be back match week 23 this on Saturday, where Bournemouth will be taking on Nottingham Forest, Brighton will be taking on Everton, Liverpool, of course, the league leaders will be welcoming Ipswich at the Anfield Stadium, Southampton will face Newcastle, and of course, Wolves will be welcoming the mighty Gunners. And finally, it will be a battle of blues on Saturday in a mouth-watering clash at the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City are expected to face Chelsea. And of course, on Sunday, it will be Crystal Palace versus Brentford, Spurs versus Leicester, Aston Villa versus West Ham. And then finally, Fulham will be taking on, of course, the struggling Manchester United. We wish them all the best. That concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Ann Wangeshi. Good afternoon for now.
Are you in the bad mood?
'Cause you're pissing me off. Just take the money and consider it as me treating you to a meal.
I'm not trying to argue with you. I just want to talk to you nicely.
You're so annoying. Can you calm down?
I was being kind. Why are you taking my kindness for granted?
You know what you and Dad have been up to.
Skolewi.
If you need help, blink twice. Ama nikatumia adui yake. Yani wataka kuwa kama mimi. Lisilo na budi ubidi.
Just find out nani anamfiti na hii story.
I could literally feel your thoughts from the gate.
What are you doing here? Kuna mtu amekufa hapa. Je, na hiyo mdomo yake kubwa?
Jabu. I don't know what is happening in this family, but I don't want to be part of it.
Anajua.
Can take you somewhere quiet.
Taki mambo yongelewe kwa hii nyumba yangu tena.
Ni sawa.
And what is it exactly they're hiding from you?
This week on the 77% Street Debate.
My neighbor, sisters, brothers.
Sorry, all those people have been kidnapped in your family?
Yes, they used to kidnap my family.
If they kill people tired, no money, no ransom, maybe they will have to stop.
But how many? That cannot be a solution. So you think that it's okay for people to get murdered just so that a solution can be found?
If there is money, the killing will continue.
Hello and welcome back to the 77% Street Debate. This week we are back in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Now, 7,500, that's the number of reported kidnapping cases in a period of 1 year in this country between June 2023 and July 2024. Obviously, some very staggering statistics there. And of course, behind every figure is a person. The people who are going to be speaking to us today, trying to figure out why the situation persists in Nigeria and what can be done about it. Let's start right here with Hawa. Now, when we talk about kidnapping in Nigeria, you might go back to the Chibok girls, and you were actually one of them. It's been 10 years since you were abducted. Do you mind telling us what happened to you?
That day that we are in school, these people just come around the school and they just tell us that they are the soldiers, they are the ministry of the soldiers in Nigeria, and they come to protect us. They just carry us to the Sambisa for 3 years. We spent 3 years for there, and we are just praying, God will help us, and we will still come back to see our parents. And they start asking us that we will be a Muslim or this thing, and we start scaring, and we just say yes. We start collecting the hijab. Yeah. After that, we just spent 2 years or 2 years, and we just say we don't want the Islam again. We want to come back to Christian. Yeah. And they just tell us that they give us 3 days, whether they want to kill us or something like that. And we say yes, we accept that we will die in Christian. And they just give us 3 days. After 3 days, we are just sitting down thinking, crying, that they will come and kill us. And among us, 5 people just coming out, they just say that they will not be a Christian, they will just follow the Muslim. And they start praying there. And they, after 2 years, 3 years, and we just release from there. And they start getting married among us. We just sit in Goza for 6 months. Yeah.
So you were captured for 3 years. That's obviously a very long time. Mustafa, you had a very different experience. She was obviously captured by Boko Haram. They have some very incredible militant ideologies based on religion. Do you know who your captors were and what happened to you?
One day, I come back in the night. I open my gate and I enter. When I enter, so just passing the window through my toilet, then I saw someone climbing my gate. So they were wearing black clothes, looking like police, but they covered their faces.
And were they armed?
Yeah, they were armed, about 18 of them. Wow. They were carrying AK-47. We spent the whole night by trekking. They were walking, beating me here and there. So immediately we went there. So I had them asking about one of the captives there, what is the news about this guy, about his family. So they says that they just says that they will pay 750,000. So I heard one of them saying sergeant. From there they just went ahead by killing that person. From there the thing becomes somehow for me. So I've been with them for good 15 days because in that situation it's just between life and death. And they were just asking of ransom of 100 million. While asking of that, I said that I don't have it, and none of my family is having that 100 million that they are calling. It says that if there is no such money, they will kill me. There was no way I saw me coming back to my family. Wow. So, but with prayers, at the end, I got free by coming out. But all I understand with them is just that some need money.
Let me ask Dr. Ahmed this question, and I'm really sorry that you both went through that. But of course, the situation that we're talking about here in Nigeria is not unique to these two. As a matter of fact, let me just see from our audience, how many people here know of someone who was kidnapped or knows a friend or a friend of a friend? Yeah? No Nigerian. Okay. So you're saying no Nigerian has been unaffected. Yeah, but these are two very different motivations, right? It would seem like. Where does that disparity come from?
Well, the disparity in the case of kidnappers for ransom it started lightly as a conflict between herders and farmers, which is normally occur during the harvest. But at a later time, it continued to grow around 2001, 2002, and 2003. I reported the presence or the possession, illegal possession of arms among the Hausa and among the Fulani.
Who are the Hausa and the Fulani for our audience who are not familiar with Nigeria?
Okay, fine. The Fulani are the hardest, and the Hausa is a tribe that has been mixed up by religion. The hardest, mostly the Fulani, are migrants. And during a dry season, they move from one place to another. Okay. During rainy season, they move from one place to another.
Okay, so we are clear on who they are, and now you're telling me they start a conflict because of grazing lands, because of drought. But how does that then become kidnapping?
Well, it later became kidnapping because of the so many issues. I can outline the few. Lack of social justice. 2, the corruption among our security personnel. 3, inability of the traditional institutions to have a kind of responsibility, a settled responsibility. The issues of managing the grazing lands. Those traditional personalities or leaders, they started selling those grazing, carved grazing lands to the farmers. So herders have no alternative. The judicial system in Nigeria becomes so collapsed because of the level of corruption, institutional corruption, and so on and so forth.
So, Dr. Ahmed, let me just pause there because it's a huge and very complicated history, but I think we get the gist of it. And you've talked about the security forces and their response to that. Obviously, when we're talking about kidnapping, you'd expect to find a uniformed police officer here. We actually had one, and they actually came right up here to our venue. But at the very last minute, when they heard that it was a debate, they chose not to participate. Regardless of that, you still depend on the police officers, Halima, and one of your relatives was also kidnapped. And I'm just trying to find out, as a family, when you hear the news, what was the first thing that you did? Sorry, I know this is a very difficult topic.
We called people around there. They said the security have gone there to rescue the team. My elder sister has to go down to Kaduna to go and in search of my sister. When they get there, they found out that she's not among the people they rescue. They went in search of her in the mortuary, the hospital, to check if the victim in the hospital, if she should be among them. So we were panicking, praying to God to show us the direction where she is. I think it was 2 days later, the kidnappers called her husband and told her, are you so person's husband? He said, yes. They said, okay, your wife and your child is under our captivity.
So at this point, have they given you any indication of what they want in return for them?
No.
They've just said, we have them, nothing else.
Yes. Yeah. It was later, after 2 weeks, they called. They called that this is what they want from the government. That the government should release their people for them. If the government releases their people, they are going to free our people for us. The next call again is that they started demanding for ransom, 100 million. Unfortunately, it was it was tough. We couldn't get that amount. They post their video on the social media, how they were flogging them, maltreating them. In the bush, all of them were shouting, crying. And the next thing, their leader come up and said, he's giving the government also date that if they don't come to give them what they want, that they are going to slaughter all of them. So we don't have any option. That we have to call all the family members for us to form a group. We form a group. Okay, let's gather and meet at the Minister of Transportation for the protest. So when we met them, we asked, please, this is what people said you are doing. The government is doing, working on the remaining victim. And you people say you are working, the government is working, is doing that. Honestly, we are not happy about this.
Okay. So I'll come back to you so that we know how this story was resolved. But before we go too far, I want to come to Joshua because we're hearing some very scary things here, yeah? Why are people so daring? Why has this problem continued persistently for so long? We're talking about 10 years since Hawa there was taken.
The bottom line is money. It's a money-making venture. It's a criminal enterprise, and it's extremely lucrative for those that engage in it.
Yeah, but it's not easy, is it? Because you have to walk somebody in the middle of the night until an unknown destination. You need people to keep them there. You need to feed these people. Where are they getting the funding from?
Well, the funding, don't forget that this is an ongoing enterprise. Say, for example, they start small and they graduate into bigger groups, and the more they are victims, the more money they make. Just like she said, if, for example, they have 10 persons in captivity and they get maybe 10 million each, that's 100 million. That's a huge amount of money. And with that, they can use to procure more arms. And with that, they can use to recruit more kidnappers into their fold. And with that, they can get more people.
Yeah. Let me come back to Dr. Ahmed here, because when you look at how dire the situation is at the moment, would you say that it's the inability of the politicians, or is it the inability of the police to get down to the bottom of this?
None of these guys is a foreigner. Their parents are known. Their foreparents are known. And everybody, when I say everybody, including myself and all the institutions that you can name them as security institutions, knows who are these guys. So the question is, what have we been doing? They are all of them entirely, they are not up to 3,000 in number. And yes, of course, not the people behind it, those who are carrying the arms. But because of the infiltration of inability of the government to do the right thing, because of the level of corruption and negligence, because of the internal sabotage, because of the unscrupulous elements, because of the lack of understanding of the community that the issue of security is not the responsibility of the government alone, and it's not the responsibility of only the security personnel who are trained to secure or to carry arms and so on and so forth, because the criminals are taking the advantage of the divided mindset and the divided institutional perspective that we have.
Let me ask Mustafa here a question. Joshua, I know you want to say something. I'll come back to you. Dr. Ahmed here is saying that the people who do these things, they are known. They live in the same villages as us. They are our family members. They are friends of friends. Do you know who was behind your kidnapping, and have they been brought to justice?
I don't know anybody, but most of the problem of the kidnapping that is happening, the one that is happening at home, there is informers. Some could be among your neighbors. Some could be for the purpose of issue of business or something else. Maybe they might need something from you. In my own case, I said no.
All right. Let me ask Hawa here, because your case was internationally publicized. Everybody around the globe was trying to find the Chibok girls. But there are still some who have been held in captivity. Despite what the government did and despite what the international community tried, do you feel that it was enough?
No, it's not enough. I'm still asking them for our sisters still there for 10 years. Up to now, they are still there. And then we are begging the government to release our sisters because it's painful for us. Up to now, if I remember, I'm still crying. I don't know where they are, whether they are still alive. And then we are not hearing government is talking about them again. And this thing is painful for me.
Do you think that the government has forgotten about the remaining girls?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So, Joshua, let me come back to you, because it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, right? Because when does it stop? I mean, I know there's a law in this country that bans payments of ransom, but what is a family to do when their loved one has been taken?
I think it's quite inhuman to criminalize ransom payment. Now, on the heels that the security agencies are slow, right? And two factors are responsible, essentially, for why kidnapping for ransom is thriving in Nigeria. And I think we need to get the conversation very correctly. Number one is the fact that Nigeria is a cash-based economy. Now, what do you use to pay for ransom?
Well, I would imagine if you're a clever kidnapper, not a digital currency.
Yes. In 2023 alone, cash-based transaction stood about 52%. Now, what happened is because the government or the relevant authorities has not made investment in digital banking infrastructure. Now, once you cut the source, once you ensure that the economy, the use of cash in the economy is reduced to the barest minimum, the business won't be lucrative anymore. Because no kidnapper will want to take money by wire, by bank transfer or anything, because there will be a trail. So long that there's cash in the society, the issue of kidnapping is not going anywhere soon.
All right. Now, the last time we saw Halima, we were asking about what your family did in order to get your sister. And you tell me that you were eventually able to raise a ransom. What impact did that have on your family?
It was so hard. We were unable to raise the ransom. We went for the protest. We were begging the government, please, the rest of the people that we don't have that amount they are asking for. The government should try and do something, please. They said, okay, we should go, that they will get back to us. We went, there was no call, nothing. We didn't hear anything from them till after that was, I think, going to 7 months.
7 months, wow. So this is a very long process that you're going back and forth, not really knowing what's going to happen. So how did you eventually get your sister back?
Let me say it's by God's grace.
Without paying any ransom?
I don't know. That is between them and the government.
So Halima, they're telling us the story of her family, but I'm just curious to hear from the people at the back. You know, how has kidnapping affected you guys in your villages, in your homesteads? Let me hear from some people at the back, please.
I'm living in my village before 2018. It's the reason that I come back. We are staying in Abuja with our parents because in our village we don't have safe. Most of some people now, even my neighbor, sisters, brothers, they kidnapped them in August 6 this year.
Sorry, all those people have been kidnapped in your family?
Yes, they used to kidnap my family. They killed my uncle for, last year in the farm. Yes, we are suffering a lot in our village.
Okay, does anybody else have a similar experience? Are you able to go back to your villages and feel safe?
No. I can't go back to my village and feel safe. But here in Abuja, anywhere I go, everywhere I visit, I used to feel safe because there are a lot of military personnel here. That's why. But in the village, most of the places are not safe.
So we're talking about here the economic impact and now psychological impact. And I wanted to ask you, Hawa, you know, it's been 10 years since the original kidnapping, 7 years since you were released. Would you say that you've gotten over the trauma? I wonder if that's even an appropriate question.
Yes, I'm still scared because they are still coming to our places, the Boko Haram, up to now. Sometimes I can't stay at home safe because I'm afraid if I hear gun, they are just shooting. And then up to now, about my sister, I can't forget it. They are always flocking us, and sometimes we can't get food to eat. That time that we are in captivity is 1 month we do not eat food. It's only water and some other food that we are getting it there. And then, even these people, up to now, they are still arresting our villages.
Wow. So as we were speaking, I noticed that it's very difficult for you to express yourself when it comes to this. Did the government offer any support at all to your family and your sister after the fact?
No, not at all.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mustafa, the same question because, you know, being taken from your home, that's something very, very personal. What have you done to sort of come back to full psychological health, if you have?
During that, they told me there was total trauma. And when I come back, I was to be in the hospital. And even while coming out of the hospital, I used to have a lot of discussions or a lot of things from my family, especially my wife. She says that I say so what, which I don't know I even said it. So for that purpose, I was at a high touch of in terms of psychological problem for the purpose of that kidnapping, because the kind of things I saw in that village, in that bush, to say the fact, I won't be happy even for the person that free or wish me, or someone who met me saying that he's praying for my death. I am not praying for him to have such kind of trauma that I got in my life.
Yeah. Dr. Ahmed, when Mustafa is speaking here, you're shaking your head. And obviously, these are rooms that you've been privy to because you no longer do this, but you are negotiating the releases of these people. How difficult is it for the families?
Well, it is quite difficult because I can say that in 11 years or thereby, I was able to conduct 84 negotiations. I only succeeded in one.
When you say succeed, what does success look like in that field?
I was able to facilitate the process of releasing 35 people at a time. But 82 were total failure.
Now, we've been talking about kidnapping, but I haven't mentioned yet the cost of life here is also very high. It's estimated that for every one kidnapping attempt, there is one death that follows it. So let me hear a few more solutions from the people here. What do you think needs to be done in order for this to become a problem of the past so that Nigeria is no longer dealing with this? I see your hand up.
Let us stop paying the ransom completely. If they kill people tired, no money, no ransom, maybe they will have to stop.
But how many? That cannot be a solution.
Yes,
So you think that it's okay for people to get murdered just so that a solution can be found?
If not, so how much are we going to spend in the paying ransom? And some people you paid and they killed the...
I see Joshua's hand up. I think he wants to respond to this. And Mustafa, let me come to you first. He's saying, you know what, in order to ease the burden on your family, it's maybe better if you had been killed.
I am in support of that. To say in fact, if people are taking money to these kidnappers, this kidnapping will not end. But there is a way, contrary to this gentleman view. And if anyone or a victim in the hand of kidnappers lost his life, the government should come out by compensating their family, at least with a minimum of at least a 5 million. Because we have money, it's better to use them by paying the family of the victims who lost their lives. Because if there is money, the killing will continue.
Okay, I have to say I'm very surprised that you're leaning towards that. Halima, let me come to you before I finish with Joshua.
To me, what he said is a no to me. That ransom they're going to give the family, will it bring back the person they killed?
It can't bring him back. But looking at the people that they used to kill, looking at the situation or the flight the Nigerian or the northern people are going through, is better we didn't pay the ransom than to take it. Assuming the time I was kidnapped, already it is in the position that I will not come back because lifespan of my living, it has come to the end. So that means I wouldn't come back. But the money they will give to my family, probably they'll be able to see something to do to my children.
Let me come back to...
What if the person you're saying they should kill and give the family the ransom is the breadwinner of the family? Like now, they didn't kill you. You came back to your family. Are you not providing for your family? Will the government continue to provide for that family?
I believe you don't know what government is doing to stop that killing. There was nothing, and still our money is going. I didn't see any way to stop this kidnapping. Purposely, the government, in order with the security sector, is not ready to do their works by stopping this kidnapping. They make it a way of getting money. They make it as a way of politics, because there is politics now in the security sector in Nigeria.
Let me close this up with Joshua, because we're hearing obviously some very radical solutions from two people who've endured the kidnapping in one way or another. Final thoughts.
For you to say stop payment of ransom is beyond words, because once your father or your mother or a relative is kidnapped, your sense of judgment is automatically impaired. You are not thinking about what the government is saying. What comes to your mind is, how do I get my relative out? Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure anybody can relate with, there's a law that says that if you pay ransom, you're liable for 15-year jail term, because it won't make sense, because that's not an ideal situation. I expect the government to put words into action, to ensure that ransom payment is reduced. It cannot be stopped. So for you to enact a law by saying, okay, it's felony for you to pay ransom, it defeats common sense for me. Yeah.
All right. So we asked what sounded like a very simple question at the beginning of this debate. What is causing the problem of kidnapping here in Nigeria? Very clear factors elaborated. How can you stop that? Not so clear on that matter. We'd love to hear from you. But for now, thank you all for watching.
Na watu wakipata shida wanaanza kuona ni kama huu Mungu haexist, and many people have used this as a platform of argument.
And like many other topics,
yes,
faith is one of those topics that the Bible has a definition.
Okay.
Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things that are expected, things that are to come.
Faith is not the absence of facts.
Vine Springer. Vine Springer.
Spenda moja, sitaki mwingine.
Kututoa chini mavumbini. Wavijana barabarani wamenyoa kweli kweli, bush na bash wakiwasimamisha wasichana. Je, wasichana ni matatu?
Mfumo wa CBC ni mfumo ambao unajitosheleza. Ni kweli?
Wanafunzi wa CBC wanaonekana kufanya vitu ambavyo vimepiku umri wao.
Mfumo huu wa CBC una gharama kubwa ya utekelezaji.
CBC, nina kipaji, nitajiajiri, kama nitaimba, nitakuwa sawa.
Tanibiana kama
ardhi na bingu.
Ardhi na bingu. Lopelo dondoka katika mtandao.
Hayo ni maneno ya Bella.
Bella
akimwambia Neema,
msemewa